Hello Internet, and welcome to game 1 of my first round game of the Manchester StreetPass tournament a few weekends ago now. There are a few StreetPass events still going on in the UK. Top 4 of each tournament gets an invite to the grand finals in Manchester. There'll be some nice prizes there, it's worth entering. I decided to enter the second tournament, the Manchester tournament. A bit of a drive for me, but I thought, not doing anything else, and might as well give it a shot. And it ran as a single elimination tournament, but best of 3. So, single elimination, not the most popular format that you can have, but best of 3 definitely helped out. It helped out especially considering I have a really terrible habit of losing my first game in real life tournaments, which is it's uncanny how many times that's happened. It's unreal. So I enter this tournament. There are some good players that have decided to travel to Manchester, and I sit down. I don't recognise the face or the name of my first round opponent, but I recognise his team when I see it on the team preview. He goes by the name of P3DS on Pokémon Showdown, and I think he is quite an underrated UK player actually. He has got a very nice Perish Trap team, and so this best of 3 game, which will be uploaded for your viewing pleasure, will be me battling against Perish Trap, basically trying to play around it. I have got Tyranitar, I have got my Talonflame with Taunt as well, so I'm not really feeling too uncomfortable, but when the first turn comes around, I am feeling quite uncomfortable because I don't like speed ties, and I played this first turn a little bit badly, I suppose. Now, I fully expect him really to go for the fake out. He has to on my Talonflame to stop the taunt, so he does do that. Straight away, he is risking the speed tie there on basically his whole game. He is risking that speed tie, but me, I don't actually use fake out with my Raichu, which is a little bit silly really. So he gets the definite flinch on my Talonflame, and he gets the Perish Song up with his Gengar. So my Talonflame flinches. I was going for the taunt on his Gengar there, and I actually go for the Hidden Power Ice on his Raichu. I basically do that just to break its sash. I didn't want to play around with speed ties, but I really should have done, because even if he did win that speed tie and got the fake out on my Talonflame, then I would have still got the fake out on his Raichu. I still would have broken its focus sash, and I would have been in pretty much the same position, just with there would have been a 50-50 chance of winning that speed tie and basically getting to taunt his Gengar. So already I'm making bad plays, and I'm in a really bad position because I know both of these have got Protect, and basically what they're going to do is just stall out as many turns as they can do and wait for my 2 to go down to the Perish Song, basically. And there's nothing that I can do about this. There's no worse feeling than sitting there in front of your opponent not being able to do anything. I go for the Flare Blitz and the Hidden Power Ice, I think. Now, I think we're beginning to see now why I lose my first game in real life tournaments quite often, because I don't know what I was thinking here. I could have just gone for a Brave Bird on his Gengar there, but no, I don't. Maybe I was expecting, I can't remember, maybe I was expecting his Politoed to come in there, which is why I was actually targeting his Raichu with the Flare Blitz, because his Politoed has got the eject button, so his Politoed would have eaten up a hit from my Talonflame and then brought back his Gengar in to take a weak hit potentially from the Raichu and get one more Protect off for the Perish Song to work that way. So that's probably what I was thinking, but he just goes straight for the Disable. So either that was a really good prediction on his behalf, or a really bad play. So either, only he will know really. But I do go for the Flare Blitz, and he goes for the Encore, encoring my Raichu into pretty much a useless move really. I think Raichu was just going for the Hidden Power anyway. Can't remember, doesn't really matter. A little bit of chip damage on this Gengar, but either way, both of these Pokemon have got 1 turn left, so he's a down to 1 count as well. He is going to withdraw both of his Pokemon. He doesn't really have much of a choice about that, so basically I have got to decide which one do I target to because I'm assuming he's got his Politoed and Kingdra in the bag, and so I want to target the Kingdra. Actually, I'm expecting that he is thinking that I am going to want to target his Gengar, and so that will be the slot that he brings in the Politoed to take the hits, basically, and get the eject button as well. And so I target my Brave Bird and my Hidden Power Ice, because I'm Encored into it, towards this Raichu, thinking, well, you know, I'm firing a Brave Bird, a flying move, off to this electric slot. You know, there's even less chance of me doing that, basically. You know, all these mind games. But actually, this works out for me, and I get the Brave Bird, and I get this Hidden Power Ice off on his Kingdra, which brings it down to, as we'll see in a moment, a very low amount of health. And it turns out that his Kingdra has actually got a Life Orb, so he's only really got one hit in him. So, from being in a really terrible position, I'm still in a pretty terrible position, but maybe not the worst position that I could be in. I did feel like I had lost the game at this point, because I did not actually remember that his Politoed had the eject button at this time. So everything that I said before about predicting the eject button is probably wrong, but I think I probably did remember he had it, but at this moment, on this turn, I was basically banking on a flinch, because I had forgotten about the eject button in this moment in time. So what I wanted to do was basically take a hit from this Kingdra, because I knew that both of these Pokemon can take a hit, even though it's super effective on Tyranitar. It will survive. The accuracy drop would be annoying, but Tyranitar actually avoids the attack. It doesn't really matter too much, though, and basically I've got to get a Belly Drum off here with my Azumarill, because if I do that, then he can't Perish Song with his Gengar in the future, and if I don't get a Dragon Dance up with Tyranitar, I've got no way of stopping him doing that. So he goes for the Muddy Water, then knocks himself out with that Life Orb recall, and it was on this turn where I was thinking, well, I've got to get a flinch, else, you know, I've lost this game. But again, I remembered, oh, he's got the eject button, and so his own eject button there causes his own downfall, really, because that stops him getting his turn. He can't Perish Song this turn now, and I get a free Belly Drum off. So from being in a really terrible position, things have absolutely just flipped around. He has got his Gengar, he's got his Politoed, and he's got his Raichu, but he can't really get his Perish Song off anyway. Well, I suppose he could, but if he did, my Azumarill would be the slowest one left on the field, because it is actually slower than his Politoed. He does bring the Politoed in here, and he sets the rain up, which is quite important. And so I'm thinking, well, the Aqua Jet, +6 Aqua Jet, is quite obvious on his Gengar, but the Aqua Jet on his Politoed isn't so obvious. And I was fairly confident that a +6 rain boosted Aqua Jet would knock this Politoed out from this range. And so he does actually go for the Protect on his Gengar, and I get this Aqua Jet off on the Politoed. Now, I do get a critical hit here, as we can see, but I don't think that mattered. I really don't think that mattered. I think that would have knocked it out anyway. And I crunched the Gengar, just in case he did not Protect, and basically he did get the Perish Song up. The crunch would have potentially knocked it out there as well. So, just covering my own back, really. He goes for the Fake Out on the Azumarill. The Azumarill is obviously the main threat here, and he can't go for the Perish Song with his Gengar because, like I just said, my Azumarill is the slowest one on the field, and if everything is under Perish Song on the last turn, it is the slowest Pokemon that goes down last, and so it's the slowest Pokemon that wins the game. So he can't go for Perish Song now. And so I actually expect him, because I used Crunch last turn, I actually expect him to use this Disable, expecting me to go for the Crunch, and I go for a Dragon Dance instead. So basically, the first few turns of this game was so bleak, so utterly bleak. It's just been turned completely around. He can't do anything now to win, basically. I get this Aqua Jet off on his Gengar, knock it out, and Rock Slide, you know, even if that missed, there was no chance he would have won from there. So, I get the rock slide off and knock the Raichu out, and I breathe a really big sigh of relief. I actually didn't lose my first game of a real-life tournament. So that was game 1, my very first game of this Manchester tournament of round 1. Tomorrow there will be game 2 of this best of 3 set, and so I hope you've enjoyed watching this. Something a bit different. I mean, you can see how many mind games, I suppose, there are in this Perish Song matchup. Maybe not so many mind games and predictions and everything in the other games, but there's so many calls that basically against Perish, if you get it wrong, you've lost the game. So it is really vital that you get them right. Really interesting, though. I find it interesting anyway. But if you would like to support the channel, please feel free to. Keep your eyes peeled for tomorrow as well, as there will be game 2. So bye for now, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it.